Women's leadership in the power sector is changing, but progress only accelerates when talent is actively supported by the system.
This is Powering the Future, a podcast series brought to you by Smart Grid Forums. One planet, one power grid.
Joining me today is Fatoumata Sangare from Enedis to discuss the real drivers behind women's leadership. Welcome, Fatoumata. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Mandana. Great to be here.
Right, well, we've got a really interesting topic for discussion today, Fatoumata. But before we get into that, it would be really useful for our audience to know a little bit more about you, your role and responsibilities at Enedis, and also what some of your priorities are right now and for the year ahead.
Yes, of course. So I am Fatoumata Sangare. I'm a cybersecurity expert and a trained lawyer. My main topic currently is to implement the IEC 62443, especially the part about the secure development lifecycle. This is really new. I've just been nominated by the French National Committee as the IEC Standardization Management Board alternate for the French National Committee. So I guess I have a lot of things to come this year.
Great, okay. And as part of your day-to-day work now, your role has expanded a little. And as we can see in the background, you're focused on women's empowerment as well. And that's the subject that we're going to be talking about today. Women's empowerment is a topic that's been discussed in the power sector for some years. And we can see the evolution. We can see that there are more women in the sector and more women in leadership positions in the sector. But do you want to give us your view on how this has evolved over, let's say, the last decade or so?
I would say the change has come from main direction. The first is that the energy sector has been transforming very fast. We have the digitalization with the smart grid, the renewable energy, and also the cybersecurity challenges. And companies I think realize that they cannot innovate with only one type of profile around the table. So diversity became a strategic need, not just an HR topic. And the second part is, from my view, that there has been strong institutional push. The regulation, the corporate commitments also. And I think even international bodies like IOC, ISO are putting gender on the agenda. 10 years ago, the conversation were still timid, I think, but today they are central. And the final point from my view is that there is a power of visibility. When young women see other women leading substations, cybersecurity teams, or standardization technical committees, something clicks. And they think if she can do it, maybe I can too. So that shifts the mindset, I think.
Right, okay. So as more women get into leadership positions in the power sector, it has a snowball effect. Other women are attracted to the role as well. Yeah, that's a very good point because without seeing our role models up there, it can be difficult to imagine what the possibilities are. So you say that these institutes are now putting sort of gender equality at the top of the agenda. And how is the message being deployed? What's the key message? How are they encouraging more women to step up into leadership?
Lately, the IEC adopted the gender responsive standards. And these standards allowed all the technical committee to consider gender topics when they are writing new standards. This sends a clear message to women. And also, for example, a lot of studies show that now we can see a lot of women, more women in technical fields like STEAMs. And also the studies from the IEC shows that we have more women in technical bodies. So I think women are receiving the information, but we still have some issues because even if they are welcomed, I think, in the technical field, they still have some constraint about seeing themselves as leader. The studies show that for women, in order to apply to an offer, she needs to be ready at 10%. But for a man, he just needs to be ready at 50 or sometimes 60% to feel himself confident and comfortable with the position. So
Hmm.
I think many women don't feel legitimate enough to see themselves in high position, in high level positions.
Yeah.
And during our project on women empowerment, we create a module for that, especially to help women to recognize bias and also men to recognize bias
Right.
and to build confidence,
Yeah.
to identify their leadership styles, and also to adapt some technique to address some challenging situation, because the fact is women are more often interrupted, they are easily judged as authoritative, they are too bossy, too pussy,
Yeah.
when male are just visionary. So we still have some challenges.
Right, right. When I totally agree, and I think I see that hesitation in the women in my own sector, in the event sector as well. Hesitation from women to step up because somehow they feel they should always be in a supporting role. Even when they're in leadership, they really see themselves as supporting their teams rather than leading their teams. What do you think is going to make the step change? What needs to happen for women to feel much more empowered, much more leadership focused, and a lot more directive than just supportive? What do you think?
Honestly, I don't think that women needs to become like men. They don't need to change,
Hmm.
but they need to unlearn certain things.
Right.
If I need to summarize, maybe I would say to adapt, we can start by a simple fact. Women should sometimes, I think, speak up even when the ideas are not perfect. And also, they should accept the responsibilities. Leadership comes with responsibilities that
Right.
demand a full commitment.
Yes.
And we shouldn't step back from that weight, I think. We need to accept that the hard work, sorry, it's
Yeah.
required. I think
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And to do that, we need also to delegate other responsibilities, like
Right.
responsibility within the household. And also sometimes women should ask for visibilities.
Hmm.
We prefer to hide, to support, like you were saying. We
Hmm.
should ask for responsibilities, for visibilities, and sometimes strategic networking may help. And from the other part, if we need to discard, I can I can say two things. The first one would be the myth of perfection. No, in my daily life, and even I was like that. A lot of women wait to present the work until it's perfect and totally complete, while others confidently share a yearly draft. That's the power of iterative work. Making your effort visible, learning from feedbacks, and ultimately deliver something stronger.
Mm.
So
Right.
we need to understand that we don't need to be perfect, but we need to communicate about what we are doing right now. And the second point, I think, for me is the most important, is we need to let go the guilt.
Right.
Women are always feeling guilty. When you decide to embrace a leadership role at office, you need sometimes to delegate leadership at home. But it's not easy because our society is built on that. Women are the leader at home. We need to think about everything, the medical appointment for the kids, the housekeeping, everything. But
Hmm.
when you have a partner, you need to trust him and let him be the dad he would like to be, even if it's not like you as a mom. We need to let go that leadership, and to embrace that we don't need to be perfect at office, neither perfect at home. And in this way we will show, I believe, a right example to our daughters.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I would say, because we've been fighting for equality for so long in the workplace, is that
Yes.
before we can fully establish equality in the workplace, we need to
Mhm.
establish it at home. And as
Yes.
you say, delegating to the partner or even to domestic support is sometimes a good way to bring about much more of a level playing field at home so that you have the capacity for those additional responsibilities in the workplace. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's an important practical consideration is because we shouldn't have to keep taking on more and more everywhere without being well supported in that. So, with that in mind, how do you think the system can support women better? Tell me a bit more about the program that you're running at Enedis for women's empowerment to support women in stepping up in leadership.
At Enedis, inclusion is part of our DNA because, as you know, Enedis is the main grid operator in France. So our work is directly related to safety. So, and we need equally men and women within the workforce. So when you have people working on the grid, which can be dangerous, for example, when you select the equipment to protect your workforce, you need the equipment to protect equally men and women.
Hmm.
So from that, we have a very inclusion view and dynamics in the company. And about the leadership, our president is a woman.
Okay.
So that sends a very strong signal because when I see this woman who is talented and she embraces perfectly her role, I can see myself as in very high level position in the next few years. And also in the company we have I think we are not driven by the bias. We have a lot of women in management positions. Even we have women who are managing technical teams.
Hmm.
Yes, and also we have some women working on high voltage grid. So
Hmm.
the examples are everywhere around us at NADs. And also, as you mentioned, I work on this program about the women empowerment.
Yeah.
This program started when I was elected as young professional leader, IUC young professional leader in 2024. And I've been given, I think this project was a gift to me from a lot of young girls because they were asking, Fatoumata, you have two kids. How do you manage to be here away from your kids for a week? And they said, they believe they need some guidance to project themselves. So when I shared the project with my management, I immediately got their support, their full support and commitment. And the project was about creating a e-learning module, like I said, to improve women, to help women in leadership position, and to help other women to overcome self-doubt, to adopt a lot of technique like nonviolent communication. And my company appreciates a lot the work I've done. It was in English, and we are now thinking about translating in French, so a lot of more people can do the e-learning. And for me, the next step will be so this translation in French, but also maybe taking every opportunity I get to talk about the module and to share it and to host other events for women.
Right, right. Okay. Well, we'd love you to come and share your experience with our participants at HGT26 in Paris. To share your experience with the program so far and discuss where it's heading, and perhaps get some feedback from the women as well into some developments for the program. Yeah.
That will be great. I can't wait.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Fatoumata. It's been great talking to you today, and I really look forward to seeing you at SGT26 in Paris in March. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Thank you, Mandana. Thank you.
Join us again next time as we unpack another big topic shaping the future of the power grid. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Smart Grid Forums, and to follow us on LinkedIn. Until then, thank you for watching and listening.
This is Powering the Future, a podcast series brought to you by Smart Grid Forums. One planet, one power grid.